On the Build Show today, we're going to take a look at what's new in the push-to-connect world of plumbing fittings. Now, most of the time, people kind of refer to this name as the Kleenex brand, but in fact, the guys at SharkBite have several competitors in their style, and I've got two systems that have been new on the market since the last time I made a video about these guys. Today's video is sponsored by Legend Valve. Let's get going. Alright guys, so last time we made this video, I was checking out SharkBites to kind of see what I thought about them, would I use them on a house. But on today's video, we're going to kind of range out a little bit and see what else is available in the push-to-connect or PTC world. I think this is really the future of our business when it comes to plumbing and home building, because we've got this aging population of plumbers and all the tools, all the things that's required to do more traditional fittings, whether it's a hot method like a sweat on copper, or whether it's a traditional PEX where you've got some kind of crimp fitting. There's more tools, there's more things. Push to connect, super easy. Check this out. This is why people get jazzed about SharkBite. All you do is literally push it on the pipe and you're done. Now SharkBite, the originator in this category, and the Kleenex brand, as I said, a lot of things going for this connection. You can basically use just about any pipe style. Copper pipes, PEX, PERT, CPVC, almost all those kind of flavors and varieties will work with these brass SharkBite connectors. They also have this going for them, which is interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it necessarily, but you can actually remove their fittings as well. Took me a second. Can I remove it? There we go. Took me a second, but we can remove their fittings and reuse them. Now that's really nice if you're doing remodeling, but would I necessarily want that if I'm plumbing a new house? I don't know. All right, so now let's talk about their competitors out there. SharkBite has spurred on several competitors like these guys, Plumbite, not a very original name. And I split these apart, the SharkBite original, the Plumbite, oh, and I forgot to mention Nibco Push as well, because I was curious, what do the internal workings of these look like? Are they similar? Now, when we cut the SharkBite open, we've done this before, I kind of knew what to expect. Basically what you've got is some stainless steel teeth in there that when you push your pipe on, they're kind of one-way teeth that actually kind of grab on your pipe down here and are holding that pipe in. And then you've got this EPDM ring. This is basically a little gasket that's gasening onto the outside of your pipe. Now, most of these SharkBite connectors you're going to see have this little insert in here. This is a plastic stiffener so that if you're using PEX pipe, this is going to go in the inside of your PEX and make sure the wall is nice and stiff, because this is your waterproofing right here, is this one EPDM gasket. Now, if you look at the competitors that we split open, Plumbite is basically the same process, and even the parts look basically the same as SharkBite. And Nibco as well, pretty similar. Now I will tell you there's a little bit of a fit and finish difference. I must say in the several SharkBites I've cut open over the years, they're pretty well engineered and machined. They're a very impressive product. The Plumbite, you can even tell from the outside that it's not quite as well made. This brass fixture is not very well cleaned up. Things aren't just quite as nice. Now, I'm not saying that there's a problem with them, but they don't look quite as nice. And I actually don't have the prices for these because we bought these at several supply houses, including ones where we didn't have accounts. So it's really hard to say what these are. But these fittings can be as much as $20 or even $30 for a specialty fitting or more. So these are not inexpensive. Now the Nibco, I gotta say, for what I was assuming was a knockoff from the SharkBite, it's a nice looking fitting. Now in the Nibco, they don't include the stiffener inside this little fitting here. They give you a separate package. So if you're using copper, for instance, you don't want that inner stiffener in there. You can pull that out. The copper's plenty stiff. So of the three, I got to say I was most impressed with SharkBite and Nibco. But let's see what's new. Now Legend Valve, these are the guys that sponsored my video. I'm impressed with them saying, hey, we're going to send you a bunch of samples, see what you think, and make a video about it. They didn't tell me what to talk about or what not to talk about. And when I first saw it, you can tell right away that this is a slightly different fixture. It's kind of runs opposite of the SharkBite. The SharkBite grabs on the outside of the tube. The EPDM gasket is on the outside of the tube. This one, on the other hand, the EPDM gasket, there's a stiffener from the factory, and in fact, these are only made for PEX or PERT pipe. So the stiffener is on the center here, and then there's not just one gasket, but there's two gaskets. Now, when I cut these open, I gotta say I was shocked to see two. It was in their literature, but I didn't see it when I was reading the literature. It's kind of a small footnote, but honestly, I think this is a big separator between these Legend valve and all the other competitors that I've seen so far, two EPDM gaskets. I also like the fact that you've got a stiffener that's the real deal. Some of them are brass, some of them are this, looks like glass, fiberglass reinforced polymer. I'm not sure what this is, but very, very thick. You can see on this cross section here, some serious polymer. And both the polymer version and the brass version have dual EPDM O-rings. That's pretty awesome. Okay, now a couple other things about this. When you put your pipe in, this is one of their pipes, by the way. This is their HyperPure pipe, which is a PERT pipe, not a PEX pipe. When you pop this in, did you hear that snap? I don't know if you could hear that on my mic here. But what's happening is there's a clamp ring, a metal clamp ring, which is, here's the cut version of it right here, that kind of looks like this. It's kind of pre-charged, and there's a kind of like a wedge in there that when you push your pipe in, the pipe moves that wedge out of the way, and that steel clamp goes back to the way it wants to be, and that's clamped around the ring. And when it's closed, it's basically clamping around the outside of your PEX or PERT pipe, and that EPDM gasket is in the center and is getting clamped down on top of that double ring gasket. So I gotta say, this is an impressive system. I like this. This feels like a kind of easier, less involved version of doing one of these, which is a more traditional PEX clamping system, whether it's Viga or one of these other ones. But these fixtures from Legend, they look expensive. I actually don't know the cost of these. You're gonna have to go find out for yourself what they cost. But they look very high quality, very well made. And I like that they have an active click. Now you cannot remove these again. There's no tool like there is on a SharkBite. This is a permanent installation. So once you click it in, you're done. The other nice thing about the click is we don't need to mark the pipe depth. Now when we're using a SharkBite, or one of these other competitors, we actually need to mark the depth of the insert so we know that that pipe is actually all the way in, because there's no telltale sign, there's no click, there's no noise, nothing to know later. So if I was just to walk up to this fixture when it was done, I can't tell just by a visual inspection knowing that it's clamped correctly. On the other hand, these have an audible click, and then if you look really closely in there, you'll see that that red wedge has been broken off and is loose, meaning the clamp is on its clamped position, and it won't happen until that pipe is fully inserted. So that's kind of a cool system. Now SharkBite, I've seen this advertised a bunch in Builder Magazine. They have a newer system called EvoPEX, and this seems to be marketed towards new home construction. And this one is similar to the Legend valve in that this is only a PEX or PERT fitting. Now in all the EvoPEX fittings that I've seen, they're fairly lightweight, I would say, and I wanted to cut it in half to see if it was any different than a SharkBite on the inside. And in fact, it's a little bit similar to a SharkBite, but it's more similar to the Legend valve. In this case, you've got a hard plastic. Again, it looks like a fiberglass reinforced polymer, although slightly thinner walled maybe than the Legend valve. And again, you've got an EPDM ring on the outside that it's clamping down onto. But the difference here is we've got one EPDM ring compared to two, so it is kind of similar to an original SharkBite. Now, the other thing about these is these are non-removable. These actually have a green ring, a green indicator you can see. Let's see if I can snap one on here. Let's actually snap it on this pipe right here. Let's see if you can hear it. Oh, you can't hear it. There's nothing to click. But you can see that green indicator ring. Hopefully you can zoom in on the camera there and see that. Now when that green indicator ring is showing, it means that pipe is fully inserted, because basically you've slid it far enough out to see it. And again, it's got some stainless steel teeth in there that are holding it on, and some kind of a clamp on the outside. Doesn't seem quite as secure as the Legend valve, but I do like that you can tell that it's actually been clamped on, whereas the other ones you can't. The traditional SharkBites, you can't. And again, this is a permanent connection, non-removable. All right, guys, I think that's it on the wrap-up. If you're going to be at the International Builder Show and you're interested in seeing more about this SmartClick system from Legend Valve, this is brand new. They're just unveiling it. They're going to have a bunch of samples at IBS. They're in booth SU3430, and so you can see those. And while you're there, check out this pipe too. I didn't learn a ton about it yet, but this is their PERT pipe that they're calling HyperPure. I need to learn a little bit more about this. But this is an interesting pipe that appears to have some advantages over a traditional PEX pipe, and they even have a 100-year warranty on it. So I'm intrigued. I need to learn a little bit more about this. Anyways, big thanks to Legend Valve for supporting today's video. Comment below if you would trust one of these in your new home build. I'm curious. I've not plumbed a house with any push to connect yet. I've only used them for kind of emergency plumbing. But I can see the day coming that maybe I would, and I can tell you that I know a lot of the national home builders are going to these PTC connection systems for new builds across the country. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive to what's new in the push-to-connect systems. I'm not a plumber, but I certainly nerd out about this. Hit that subscribe button if you're not currently a subscriber. We've got new content here every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, otherwise we'll see you next time on The Build Show.